Let's learn how to be smart with time, because it's students who manage time to the class. Welcome students, Lecture 11 is here, and today we're talking about time management, study plus play balance. Ready? Let's begin. Chapter 11 being the one who never gives up. Results are appreciated in this world, but nobody speaks about what it takes to continue striving when there aren't many results in sight. This chapter isn't about marketing yourself or hustling. This is about developing the strength to persevere. You will find out how to handle disappointments without losing your steam, how to preserve your commitment amid resistance and opposition, and how to develop the character of the one who does not simply sprint off to a flying start, but finishes with a bang. 11.1. The power of enduring before you learn to win. Every soul will rejoice at the triumph, but few acknowledge the power that goes into enduring until that moment arrives. It's not just about ability, skill, or being ready. What winning requires is enduring. Enduring in the difficult times. Enduring when the process is painful and frustrating. Enduring when you go unnoticed. Enduring when doubt arises and the flame wanes. Until you can learn to endure, you'll never be able to succeed, because only the power of enduring when it's easy not to. This is true power. The fact is that most people aren't failures simply because they lack the talent to succeed. People who fail simply stop showing up. People who give up faith in the process just because it doesn't come quickly enough. People who think that resistance and lack of progress mean that there's nothing more to be done and it's time to quit. But the truth is that the resistance is actually an indication that you're getting stronger, that the process is working on you even when you don't see the results. To be the one who never gives up, you need to change your metric. No longer judge yourself just based on the result. Judge yourself on whether or not you kept going, kept showing up. That's where the magic lies. Because the one who sticks around builds. The one who sticks around wins. In the end, 11.2 not ease but clarity is what you need. Everyone believes that the road needs to be made easier for him to continue. What he really needs is clarity. Clarity always beats comfort. If you have clear ideas on what you are doing, why it is important, and how it is making you will not need comfort to carry on. Clarity brings purpose to your journey. It turns your struggle into something worthwhile. It turns even the most difficult times into tolerable ones. It's not the stress, it's the lack of perspective. Once you lose your reason why, everything seems impossible. You doubt yourself, the process, the timing, the plan. The fatigue of thinking is much more harmful than physical fatigue. But once you regain clarity on your vision, you transcend beyond your thoughts. You understand that the pain will pass, but the design will live forever. Write down your vision. Think about why you want to do it. If you have to, say your vision aloud every day. Create your clarity into your compass, because when you stop caring if it's an easy road or not, you care about whether it's the right one. And when it's a road worth taking, you'll take it, even if it comes with bruises, even with doubt, even without applause. 11.3 Momentum emerges when you decide not to retreat. Every journey will have a point in which you have to make a decision whether you should pull back or not. You have faced resistance. Your progress isn't as fast as anticipated. The thrill has faded. You ask yourself if it was really worth it. It is precisely at that point that you decide what you want, whether you should move on or go back to your comfortable life. That's the moment that momentum comes back. There is no magic in momentum. Momentum does not just happen, it is created. And it is not built on speed but on direction. You move one step forward towards alignment, even when you are emotionally compelled to stay still. You do what is right, not what is easy. You align yourself with your journey, not your emotion. Such choices will set off a chain reaction, whereby one act of being resilient leads to another. Do not let the lack of momentum cause you to stop. Use it as a reason to make some happen. Get moving. Build something. Keep going despite the lack of wind in your sails, because momentum is never a gift. It is a product of something else. Momentum starts the same way every time. 11.4 Grit is built undercover, not in the spotlight. All of us want to be appreciated for what we are building. However, the most important growth occurs behind closed doors, when nobody is paying attention, when the work being done is not exciting, when there's no input coming your way. No likes, no appreciation, only yourself and your values and the struggle. This is how grit is formed, undercover, not in the spotlight, without praise but alone. And those who learn to like the silence stay steadfast amidst the commotion. It is not an emotion but a muscle, that which is cultivated in the face of consistency versus fame. The individual who gets back up and does the work despite the fact that it did not receive attention from the day before. The individual who refuses to let lack of praise influence their ability to take action. That individual becomes the one who cannot be broken. An audience is not what it takes to make you great. It is the benchmark, something that motivates you, something much greater than the ego. Something that is greater than emotions, something greater than the need for immediate reward. Make your work speak for itself. Make your actions serve as your applause. For if you conquer the silence, you will conquer the storm. 11.5 Emotional resilience, the real advantage. The quality of your strategy, how skilled you are, and how wise your tactics may be does not matter one bit if you fall apart emotionally. It's all going to be for nothing. Emotional resilience is what separates those who dream from those who make their dreams come true. Emotions do not need to be controlled, they just need to be used to control yourself. When you are emotionally resilient, you do not crumble when everything falls apart around you. You breathe, you process, and then you make your decisions from a place of strength and not of panic. You do not allow yourself to be led by any discouragement or disappointment, but rather allow the truth to reset you. This does not mean that you will not ever fall, but what matters is how quickly you can get back up again. And resilience doesn't mean that you don't get affected, it means that you are grounded. But grounding is never in denying that everything is okay. Grounding is in recalling the truth. You know who you are, why you did what you do, and what really matters, and you move, possibly at a slower pace, possibly gently, but always forward. 11.16 The process only works when you work it. The process doesn't break down, people simply cease putting effort into it. They become bored, they grow impatient, they seek out the next big thing, the next easy solution. Yet the truth is, every single successful venture involves a period of dull consistency. A good process will work if you work it, but only if you can persevere beyond the initial moods and reservations. You cannot microwave mastery, you cannot bypass the process of transformation. You have to go through the season of anonymity and unseen labor and repetitive work that is not noticed. And this is where most people give up. Not because they can't, but because they can't stick with it long enough. It's not the most gifted who triumph. It's those who remain faithful to the process despite how boring it is. Think about it. Do you really stop the process, or are you stopping yourself from being patient? The process will definitely work, provided you water it. Don't give up on your seeds because the harvest is taking longer to arrive. Follow the timeline, appreciate the steps. But above all else, show up for the process. The process will never let you down. 11.7 Learn how to rest without quitting. Rest and quitting are two different things altogether. Quitting leaves you in frustration while rest stops for a purposeful break. Rest isn't weakness, it is wisdom. It means that I am willing to walk this path because I care about it enough to take care of my pace. And how much good will your dreams do when you get tired, even before realizing them? To develop resilient strength, one needs to master the skill of rest. Rest is the process through which you re-energize your concentration. It's the way that you refresh your mind. It's the way that you come back more powerful than you left. The trick? Rest has to be planned. Rest has to be organized just like your work. People usually only rest when they're exhausted. However, you don't let your car exhaust itself before filling it with gas. You have permission to pause, to breathe, to reflect, to take a break from all of your tasks, to experience something that makes you happy. You don't have permission to misinterpret exhaustion as an indication that you should stop. Sometimes the very best thing that you can do to continue is to take a step back and rest. 11.8 Don't wait for readiness. Choose readiness. Readiness is not usually a feeling, rather it is a choice. People don't take action or fail to sustain action because they are waiting for readiness. Readiness is a feeling that can be easily shattered because it is based on emotions which are unreliable. You will never begin acting when you choose to wait until you are ready. However, when you make a choice to take action, your choice creates your readiness. You grow through doing, not through overthinking. You don't get any stronger through asking whether you're ready. You get stronger by moving forward despite feeling resistance. The more you wait for feeling ready, the less able you will be to trust yourself. But once you've decided, I might not feel ready, but I'm ready to do this thing, everything shifts. Because suddenly your action isn't contingent on feeling, it's contingent on being. Resilient people do not wait for their inner strength to manifest itself before acting. Instead, they move with faith. They begin the journey, enter the dialogue, come back to the practice even though they have doubt. It is through doing that consistently that belief is built. One does not wait for courage, but builds it through movement and action. 11.9 Sometimes progress is inaudible. Just keep moving on. Progress comes quietly. It's invisible. It goes unnoticed. You're developing self-discipline and mental clarity well before you even see any sign of your progress. But if you wait for the progress before you continue moving on, then you will never hang in there long enough for the breakthrough. The thing is, the real progress takes place internally first. You cannot see the roots forming before the flowers bloom on the tree. You cannot see the muscles healing before they get stronger. This applies to your own process. With each decision that you make and align yourself with your principles, even if no one claps for you or gives you a piece of evidence, that is a step in the right direction. You will always be moving forward. It may not seem like it. But with each passing day, your path becomes increasingly clearer. Stop asking, is it working? And ask, am I working it? Change does not occur from daily fireworks. It occurs from daily fidelity. From being faithful to doing what you say, even if the outcomes are not yet evident. For when the change comes, you will know that it didn't happen by accident. It happened because you were becoming who you needed to be all along. 11.10 You build resilience by not choosing to break. Resilience is not something you are. It is something you choose to be over and over again. Each choice not to quit, each choice to take a breath rather than explode, builds capacity. Resilience is built through repetition under resistance. It happens in the fires, only if you continue to show up there. Unbreakability is not achieved through the absence of pain. Unbreakability is achieved when one realizes that pain is not the end-all and be-all. That despite the pain, despite everything else, there is always a choice left in your hands. A choice to fall, but also rise. A choice to question, but to do something despite it all. Do not romanticize resilience because it is not always graceful. It is sometimes messy, tearful, silent, and lonely. But resilience is yours, and it is something that you made and earned, and no one can ever take it away from you. When you grow into a person who never gives up, you become stronger and create the future. 11.11 You are stronger than you know, now show it. Resilience isn't just some idealized notion of virtue. It's the choice you make on a daily basis. It's the way you carry yourself when the road gets tough. It's the bar you set for yourself when the payoff is taking too long. It's the mercy you extend to yourself when the momentum fails. And above all, it's the unwillingness to allow the resistance to dictate your narrative. In this section, you've come to understand what real strength looks like. People tell you that you do not need perfect conditions in order to keep on going. You need to be decisive, bold, and consistent. That you can pause without ever halting. That you can proceed when you are not quite ready yet. That unseen growth is growth nonetheless. And that being someone who never pauses is not a trait but a discipline. You are powerful enough to start. But now go on until you are unstoppable. There is no need to rush. There is no need to show off. Just keep going, and if you do, you will wake up one day in the life that you only ever dreamed about. Not because it was easy, but because you refused to stop creating it. 11.12 It takes winters to test your character. It's very tempting to feel powerful when summer comes around, when there's abundance, when there's praise and momentum. It's during the winters when we really get to know our true power. The winters when the doors shut, when the plans don't work out, when nothing is going the way you planned. In those cold, silent times, your character is formed. The biggest misconception most people have about winter is thinking there is a problem. They become anxious and retreat from whatever has been successful. However, winter does not imply failure, it is actually formation. It is an opportunity for refinement. It is a season where you have to go inward, root deep and construct without recognition. While winter may seem like a desert externally, there is a lot going on underneath the surface. It is cleansing you of everything that does not serve you anymore. Once you realize the art of respecting the winter, when you no longer fight it but start mining it, then you come out not just as a success, but as someone with grounding. Because when everyone else realizes the arrival of the spring, you will be the one who will not just survive but succeed. 11.13 Growth isn't always growth. We imagine growth as a thrilling adventure that brings energy and success. However, growth seldom seems to be growth when it is taking place. It is friction. It is failure. It is fatigue without any reward. It is the experience of stretching yourself beyond your comfort zone and testing yourself in situations you'd rather not test yourself in. The problem is, even though it may feel difficult, you are right where you should be. Muscles grow from micro-tears. Trees grow deep roots when the wind rattled them. And you grow character from conflict. By showing up even if it isn't sexy, by committing when the result is unknown, and by trusting the process despite unstable feelings. The pain isn't because there's something wrong with you. The pain is because something bigger is growing inside of you. Being unshakable means understanding that not all growth is going to be uplifting. There are going to be times when growth requires some grit on your part, but if you continue to push through it, knowing that each step is building you, there will come a time when you can look back and see that the hardest season made you the most. 11.14 Resistance is a message, not a red light. Every successful journey has its resistance. This can manifest itself as hesitation, procrastination, criticism, confusion, or exhaustion. Most people treat it as a red light. They back off. They rethink their objective. They reason that perhaps it was never meant to happen. However, resistance does not mean back off. It means you have reached a crucial threshold, a threshold that when crossed will stretch you out. If it comes easily, it probably isn't anything new. But if it's difficult, it probably means growth. Resistance is not something to fear. It's something to listen to. It means you are venturing into unknown areas where your body, your mind, your habits, or even your beliefs are being tested. And this is precisely the point at which transformation takes place. If you encounter opposition, stop, but do not retreat. Consider what it may be teaching you and where it is calling upon you to step up. Those individuals who become immovable are not those that have never experienced opposition, they are those who reinterpret it. They are able to see it not as an obstacle, but as a sign of success worth defending. 11.15 Being flexible is being strong. The modern world tends to admire those who have everything planned out perfectly. However, the most resilient individuals are not those who never adjust their plans. Rather, they are those who are able to adjust when necessary and how to do it. Flexibility is not about being weak. It is an example of being strong in a different way. The ability to adapt is key to being resilient to change, since change is inevitable. Life will change. Plans will go awry. Markets will change, people will come and go, seasons will change, and if your power comes from rigidity, you will break. But if it comes from flexibility, you will grow. You will find new routes. You will imagine new possibilities, and eventually you will succeed, not because you had the ideal plan, but because you kept your purpose and were flexible on the process. Unshake is not about rigidity. It is about being firmly planted and adaptable. Knowing what will never change, your identity, your values, your purpose, and giving yourself permission to adapt everything else that can. That's not being inconsistent. That's being smart. And when life changes, as it inevitably does, you will stand firm, even stronger. 11.126. You don't rise to the level of inspiration, you rise to the level of discipline. Being motivated is awesome, yet not sustainable. While inspiration is strong, it's also temporary. You may start the day with high energy levels and finish the day being tired. You can become full of motivation after listening to a podcast and feel drained of energy due to a small challenge. Emotionality is something we can experience like waves. If your ability to resist challenges is emotional, you will fail once the first challenge arises. That's why resilient people rely not on emotions, but on discipline. Your discipline is your backbone, your response system, something that you always use no matter what else happens. And the wonderful thing about discipline is that it doesn't make any demands on you being in a particular condition. All you have to do is just come. Not perfectly, not effectively, only regularly. Regularity creates strength in places where motivation cannot reach. What can you do to maintain consistency all year long? Establish a rhythm which doesn't require constant motivation. Build a system of habits that actually represents your true self. Know how to be present when things get tough, boring, and exhausting. Since your life is never going to be about your good days, but rather about your faithfulness on your bad days. 11:17, there's always a reason for every season. Embrace it. Most people find themselves struggling against the season they are in. This is because they see it through somebody else's highlight reel. This is because they are trying to fast forward to the next season that is yet to come. But true strength is found when you accept and honor the season you are in right now. It is important to know that each season serves a purpose in its own unique way. This could be the time for you to do deep work, which is where things are not happening, but things are being set into place. This may be a time of healing for you, which is where the progress will be seen in the rest, boundaries, and emotional healing that you are doing. This might be a time of acceleration for you, where everything starts falling into place for you. Do not bring dishonor on your season by wanting it to end prematurely. Rather ask, what is my purpose in this season? There is fruit in each season, but will only be seen by those who stay present enough to harvest it. Being unshakable involves walking through each season, not in defiance but reverence. 11.8. Your roots are worth more than your reach. Within a culture consumed by measurements of success, followers, dollars, exposure, and spread, it's all too easy to confuse reach with success. However, reach without roots is perilous. If a tree does not ground itself, then it will fall with the first storm. The same goes for you. If your reach exceeds your identity, your platform will be your prison. But if your roots are deep, if your integrity and clarity lie underneath the surface, then you can handle anything. Roots develop in secret. They develop in those things that are done in secret. Roots develop in difficult decisions and hard conversations. Whenever we live up to our values and principles, whenever we are consistent and faithful, whatever we do for the right reasons, roots develop within us. Not in being seen, in being rooted. When all the storms of change and criticism and chaos rage against you, it won't be your ability to reach out, but to be rooted that will get you through. The deeper they reach, the higher you fly fearless, because now you have a firm foundation irrespective of where you climb up to. 11.19. Strengthen your mind. Your thoughts determine your seasons. You may not have control over everything, but you certainly do have control over the conversation you are having in your head about that. That will determine the way you go through every season of life. If your mind is weak, then even the slightest challenge will seem as an absolute catastrophe for you. But if your mind is strong, then no matter what the season is, it would be nothing but a forge that makes you better. That is why resolute individuals talk differently, especially to themselves. They ask questions about fear. They challenge the assumptions. They utter hope in their lives whenever doubts want to prevail over them. They practice truths until they drown out the noise around them. This is not an illusion. This is an act of discipline where one chooses to think in line with his vision. Your mind is a battlefield, and in order for you to be victorious in whatever you do, you will need to train your mind. Through writing in your journal. Through making positive affirmations. Through meditation. Through reframing. Through self-awareness. The strongest individuals are not the ones who suffer the least, but the ones who have the most trained minds. Because with a mind that is filled with truths, your whole life becomes unshakable, inside out. 11.20. Pain refines what comfort cannot. Pain is something we try to avoid. We are afraid of it. We do everything in our power to postpone or avoid it. But when confronted with pain with an open heart and presence of mind, it teaches us things that comfort cannot. It makes us drop our ego. It exposes our delusions. It brings out the reality from what has been mere convenience, and although pain is never an end in itself, it often becomes the means to achieve great progress. Pain makes you realize what truly matters. It poses those questions that comfort does not have to ask you, which are, who are you when there's no cheering from others? What do you know to be true when everything around you is falling apart? And what do you believe when nothing seems to be going well? The very answers that you give become your solid ground. Pain will form you, just not break you. It will mold your character, but not make you cynical. It will give you empathy, but not apathy. Pain doesn't have to be celebrated, but you can certainly learn from it. Because the more wisdom you gain through pain, the more you become someone that nothing can move. 11.21 You've got something for the full season. Your value isn't measured in just one season. It's not your best or worst. It's not what you lost, who you lost it to, what didn't work out, or even your dreams that are yet to be accomplished. You were never meant for just one scene in your story. You were formed to fill the full length. And every season, good or bad, quick or long, easy or difficult, is crafting you into someone better, someone wiser. Never allow your potential future self to be defined by the measurements of your current one. Never let a brief hold-up dictate who you will ultimately become. Just because your current state is unclear does not mean that God's plan for you is over. Just because you are tired does not mean that you are done. You are becoming. And that takes seasons, some for stretching, some for stripping, some for resting, and some for rising up. When you understand that every season has its role, you stop labeling them as good or bad. You start receiving them all as necessary, and when you do, you become someone who can thrive not just in the good times, but in every time. That's unshakable living. 11.22 Conclusion. Storms may come, but so can strength. There will be changes in seasons. There will be storms. There will be plans that fail. However, strength isn't about being safe from the storm, but about knowing how to survive within it. In this chapter, you have learned that invincible people aren't necessarily superhuman, but only aligned, aware, and anchored. They don't require the right conditions in order to act. They don't rely on inspiration to remain where they are. Clarity has given you stamina. It is because discipline is better than motivation every day. It is because you need to see where you are rooted rather than how much you have grown. Flexibility is a sign of wisdom rather than weakness. Pain will make you stronger if you let it. Storms will come, but you are not powerless, you are not alone, you are not stuck. You are being shaped for something greater, and the person you're becoming in this moment, the one who walks forward through wind, rain, silence, and fire, that person is unshakable. And that person is you. Great job, everyone. Today we learned the secret: balance. Plan your study time, enjoy your playtime, and don't waste either. Small habits today equal to big success tomorrow. Thanks for being here and paying attention. Have a productive day.